Hello friends and welcome to another VTES game I played on Lech this week. I've received quite a bit of feedback on the previous video and I'll be trying to implement some of it starting today. I also have my first 3 subscribers, so apparently we are making progress. Shout out to you guys. I probably can't quit my day job just yet. Today we have another 4-player game. That's a bit unfortunate because VTES usually shines brightest with 5 players, but 4 players games have their advantages as well. They tend to be much shorter, which certainly helps with the editing. I'm doing this purely for fun and I hope it brings some fun to you as well. Let's dive into the game. We've skipped the first few turns where not much happened besides influencing vampires. At this point, everybody already has their first vampires in play. Starting with myself, I'm playing an extremely aggressive Diana Vote and Bleed deck. You'll find the decklist in the description. My prey is Lech from Lithuania, playing Agnieszka. At this point, I have no idea which version of deck he is running. I faced Agnieszka Wall, Agnieszka Breed and Agnieszka Bleed decks before, so there are several possibilities. We'll talk more about Lech's deck as the game develops. Speaking of Lithuania, let me take a moment to invite you all to the European Championship in Vilnius this year. In my opinion, the team there is preparing what could be the best VTES event ever. The next player is Bram. He's playing a deck I haven't seen him pilot before. Early prevent cards, like the Resplendent Protector, and equipment suggest some kind of grindy strategy. Bram is known for building decks that influence multiple minions, with most of them capable of contributing in similar ways, both offensively and defensively. Finally, we have my Predator, Peitsa, playing Salubri antitribu. We all expected a rush deck, but you'll have to wait a little longer to see whether that prediction was correct. Instead of rushing, Nuriel opens with a bleed for 3. I bounce it to Lech, who bounces it to Bram, who bounces back to Lech. But Lech finally blocks and goes to long range, ending the combat. Lech then plays Eternal Vigilance, which is an early sign that his deck might be playing a more blocky version. I managed to successfully call Camarilla's Iron Fist, doing 4 damage to my prey and 1 to my Predator and gaining 1 pull in the progress. Agnieszka then picks up Bowl of Convergence, gains Mkhokheli and transfers out Verix. Meanwhile, Bram and Peitsa continue to build their board presence steadily. At this moment I don't have any vote cards I want to play, so after making almost certain that Bram can either block or bounce a low stealth bleed, I take a risk. I play Intimidation and Air of Elation for a massive bleed of 7, dropping Lech to just 3 pull. I'm risking Archon Investigation, but that's part of the game. If I wasn't willing to take the risk, I wouldn't be running that many bleed cards in the deck. It's my turn again, and Anarchy's Uprising, called by Flavio as a bait, gets blocked by Agnieszka. But Diana follows up with another Camarilla's Iron Fist and a Voter Captivation. Lech can't block this one and falls to 1 pull. Although, unluckily for me, he immediately recovers somewhat with a Villein for 5. He then turns his attention towards Bram and aggressively pressures his pull, bringing him down to 10. When my next turn starts, things look promising. I've used Dreams of the Sphinx 3 times already, drew another Dreams, and used them to draw even more cards. Now I have 11 cards on hand. My prey is sitting at 6 pool. My ground prey is at 7, but has 5 minions in play and is fully equipped and ready for a fight. Most importantly, my Predator hasn't rushed me even once. Unfortunately, this is where I make a mistake. I get impatient and decide to bleed with Diana. The bleed is bounced to Peitsa, who reveals 4 intercept and sends Diana to torpor after a short combat. Not happy with the outcome. I still influence Annabelle, and I already have Giant's Blood in hand, so I'm really hoping Lech gets greedy and ignores Diana being in torpor, that he could have maybe Diablerized, and focuses on Bram. If Diana survives Lech's turn, I'm planning to ask Bram for a rescue. Lech leaves Diana alone, but instead plays Under Siege and Sateta, giving him even more defensive potential. As you can see in the video, Bram helps me out and rescues Diana. I immediately play Giant's Blood, setting up for my first victory point. Lech blocks Annabelle's first Camarilla Iron Fist, but with the loop and Annabelle's ability, my next vote starts at 3 stealth, with a 4 stealth available from Conclave. Diana eventually lands the oust, putting 3 damage on Lech and 2 on Peitsa. The action is followed by a huge vote recaptivation that in total gains me 9 pool. At this point, Bram decides to coordinate his play with Peitsa, reassuring him about his defensive intentions, and allowing Peitsa to pressure me with his bleed, while Bram's weenie Toreadors attempt to stay safe below parity shift range. Several turns pass, with the Salubri antitribu actually bleeding me, while Bram continues expanding his board and influencing a new minion every turn. The cooperation between my opponents begins to crack when Bram drops to 5 pool and one of my bounce bleeds leaves Peitsa at only 2 pool. Bram capitalizes on the situation and AUS Peitsa gains 6 pool. At the moment, I actually welcome the change. I believe it will be easier to play against a single opponent than two coordinated ones. But Bram doesn't stop at ousting Peitsa. He has still some actions left, and he decides that it's a perfect opportunity to go after me and try to close the game in a single turn. My deck had run low on gas during the previous couple turns, but suddenly the cards like Wakes and Combatants become incredibly valuable. Flavio's ability also performs perfectly against Bram's zero stealth actions. I survive long enough to reach my turn, but the heavy card cycling that helped me gain an advantage in the early stage of the game now comes back to haunt me. I start the turn with 7 cards in hand and only 1 card in my library. I believe I have to finish the game now. If I fail, there's very little chance I'll be ousted on the following turn. Can I push through 9 pool with very little stealth and several dead cards in hand? Will a single copy of Daring the Dawn make the difference? Watch until the end to find out.